not to get into specifics, but I, in my life currently, am at a rather interesting point where I am extremely uncertain and I am full of many things that I do not like emotion-wise. So maybe that describes where you're at to a different extreme, and there are most certainly different tiers and levels to highs and to lows. And right now I am feeling okay, but overall for a little bit I have not been feeling very okay. And some of my favorite videos from some other ASMR artists are, talking about, or just, ASMR for depression, ASMR for anxiety, and it's mainly because, one, I like whispering, but two, because there's this kind of calming sense of, there's usually like ranting about how it is okay, right? It's okay to feel like this, and it kind of gives you this relief and weight off the shoulders of like, oh, someone is telling me that I'm allowed to feel this. And although it is not very Andrew Tate manly of anybody to have feelings, especially men, we might have them, right? And that is the case, that we do have feelings. So, with that being said, in this video, I'm just going to be giving you a kind of rant to address the situation that you're in as best I can with literally zero context based on the situation that I am going through, but giving really advice to myself, looking in a mirror of sorts. And if you find it helpful, which I hope you do, maybe you could just take the advice. That's really all I want. So with that being said, how would I go about addressing this? I think I've talked about in previous videos how there are things that we can change and there are things that we cannot change. The things that we can't change, no point really stressing over. Easier said than done, though, of course. The things that we can change, well, the good news is that they can be changed, so that's very good. And there's a door slam. This is going well so far. I think I'm doing a very good job at cheering people up by saying completely obvious statements, but I don't really want to go down that path again because I've talked about that before, and I don't really want to repeat myself too much. I want to find a new kind of pathway of thought here, and I think the pathway that I will take, I'm trying to kind of sort through my situation and look at it, is I think the best way to put it for me right now is a lot of uncertainty. And like I said, these ugly emotions, fear, doubt, guilt, shame, uncertainty, all things that you don't want, you know what I mean? Like the opposite of those, what you want. You want to be certain, you want to be like, this is what I do, this is how I am, this is me, this is how I act, these are my habits. You don't really want to have this, okay, what am I doing on a day-to-day? How is this working? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Because it just leads to more ugly emotions. It's just now I'm fearful and now I'm doubting, and because I'm doubting I'm scared, and because I'm scared I'm uncertain, and it becomes this negative feedback loop of maybe I've always felt this way to a degree. I've always been like, what am I doing, or blah blah blah. But recently I've been tested, and it has been a bit tricky. And maybe you're in a spot where you are being tested as well. That could be any situation you're in. That could be things, like I said, that are not in your control. And you're just like, I just need to go through this, and it sucks, right? Because there are things like that. Then there are things that are in your control, which still suck, because sometimes you might fall into, which I've fallen into recently myself, is like, you can control it, and you're not controlling it like you want to or you should be. And what then? Because now you're beating yourself up that it actually is in your control and you're actually not doing anything about it. So there's definitely many different levels to it, and it's kind of this game of mental torment. It can be, right? Depending on what you are experiencing, and what I said at the start of the video, which is, it is okay to this is kind of the first sigh of relief that a lot of people need, is that they are trapped in their head and they think that there's no way out and there's no fixing this, and it's just not true, right? Your brain is trying to help you, I guess. It's trying to keep you alive, but it's also pretty good at lying, and it's also pretty good at convincing you, and this is the weird part, is that you are the listener of the voice. So, do you ever notice that when your brain tells you something, notice the fact that I even said your brain implies a separation, which means you're agreeing with a voice. You're not the voice. Did you ever catch that? That when, like, your brain's like, you're an idiot, it's not like you saying you're an idiot. It's almost as if your brain said it and you agreed with it, which begs the philosophical question, who are you? What is you? I could go into this. But seriously, it is true. Like, even right now, I'm saying the brain says, as if implying a separation, which is kind of true, because you're the one watching the thought, but you are not the thought. So, if something says you're stupid, or you can't change this, or you can't fix this, that's a suggestion. That's like what are your, hey, I'm just telling you what I think. You don't really have to listen to that. It's a little unfortunate, though, because you do hear your own thoughts. You are in your own brain, so of course you're listening to that, and it can suck. I understand, and usually my mind is not a place of much chaos, or there's not many negative things happening in the brain. But like I said, recently I've been put to the test, and maybe it's to bring you this video, I don't know. But I think it's important during those times to remember that, kind of just what I said, like, it's just your brain. It's not you. It's just your brain. Now, maybe there's truth to what your brain is saying, right? So if you can't figure out 1 + 1 and your brain says you're stupid, I don't know. Maybe you're a toddler watching my video, in which case you still got time to learn, but no, seriously, maybe there is some truth to what you are experiencing. Your brain might not always be lying to you, but it's a little more brutal, right? That's not very constructive. If I'm trying to figure out 1 + 1 and my brain's telling me I'm stupid, how is that helping me? Why don't you help me figure out 1 + 1, right? You know what I mean? So, it's not very constructive sometimes. It's destructive. Yes, destructive. And that's not what we want, right? We want to be able to figure out, okay, well, my brain is right. It's telling me that there's a problem, but how am I going to fix this problem? What am I going to do? And that's where, that can also breed uncertainty, and I understand. I absolutely hate uncertainty. I freaking hate uncertainty. Or I'm actually not too sure if I do. I'm just kidding. That's me being uncertain about uncertainty. But seriously, uncertainty sucks, whether it be on a small scale or a large scale. And yeah, I mean, I think all these things kind of tie into each other, right? Fear, doubt, shame, guilt, uncertainty, regret, whatever it is that we go through as humans. But really, I mean, it's so cliche, but like, the cliches are true a lot of the times. Like, the only thing we can really do is keep moving forward, right? And it's whatever that means for you. So stop thinking in terms of, like, yeah, it's good to think long term, for sure, do that, but also think in terms of the footstep in front of you, right? The footstep in front of you, because a lot of the times we are so caught up in this big, grand scheme of things that it seems so daunting to even take a step. And I've said multiple times that recently I've seen another side of myself that I just know isn't me. And I've seen that recently. Well, I just said that, but where was I going with this point? That there's so much distraction and stimulation, and there's so much happening in this world. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. It's so easy. Maybe watching this video is part of that trap, and I've trapped you. But it really is weird that the moment that you start to feel these emotions, you have everything to turn to. You can turn to food and entertainment immediately, and pretty much that's probably most people's problem. It is my problem, I'll tell you that. I've never had an issue with that before, and recently I realized, oh my god, eating food numbs something temporarily. Watching videos numbs something. And it's numbing your thoughts at the end of the day. It's like you don't want to sit with yourself and be with yourself because you have these ugly emotions, and I've heard someone talk about this, is you don't even really enjoy the action. You have an emotion that you've tied to a habit, and that's just how it is, right? So, of course, when I scroll on my phone, it numbs, and it gives me a hit of pleasure when I'm scrolling, and it also simultaneously makes me forget about my issue. But then you end up feeling worse after, or you probably, arguably, I feel worse during it, because it's like when you're eating and you're like, I know I shouldn't be eating, or you're scrolling and you're like, I know I shouldn't be scrolling. So it just creates this never-ending loop of, okay, I have fear, guilt, shame, regret, blah, blah, blah. You do things that breed fear, guilt, shame, regret, blah, 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 and it loops. So I think, again, to go back to the beginning, it's okay to experience these things, but what we do after, which we often hear, or I often hear a lot, is, it's not what happens, it's how we react to what happens. But it is very true, and if you need some time to go through these, I don't want to say bad habits, but like, yeah, okay, I scrolled on my phone, right? I wasn't immediately like, okay, we are going to, during this atrocious time in my life, I'm going to non-stop work and build this thing and build X, Y, and Z and do this and that. I didn't do that. I had my little spiel of doing the bad things of that. I'm not really encouraging it. If anything, I'm trying to not have that, but I'm saying, like, let's put it like this. If you have done those things, stop beating yourself up, because you are perpetually creating the loop for yourself over and over and over and over again. And that's exactly what we don't want. That's exactly what we don't want. I feel like I was just thinking of like psychology, ASMR, even though I'm not a psychologist. But these seem helpful, because I was thinking when I made these, it's very nice of me to say to myself that these are helpful, but I hope they are. I mean, that's kind of what they're meant for. Some of my most viewed videos were after my face reveal, but also I just called them kind of more intriguing titles, and I was ranting, and I'm like, that's actually kind of what I want to do more of. I think ASMR has enough of the good triggers, and I'm not ASMR zeitgeist. I don't have, millions of dollars in a sick studio, so I'm like, why don't I just speak the mind and sort of, help people where I can, because ASMR is relaxing and it helps people relax and fall asleep, but simultaneously I want you to feel, that's what ASMR is for, to feel safe, to feel, and it's just helpful, and I want to be helpful in as many ways as I can, and I think to get the dual use of sort of being relaxing, I'm being tested once again, because I have restarted this video not restarted the whole video, but I've had to go out and clear some things in my storage, which is kind of whack, because I did just delete like 50 minutes of video, and it still gave me the storage ran out like 2 times. That is just what happens when you mismanage your storage absolutely horribly, and that is kind of what I'm doing. I just have so much crap that I just need to get rid of. It's getting crazy on the phone. But I don't think this rant would go much longer anyway, to be honest. Maybe it's because I'm honestly scared I'm gonna get storage ran out again. But the moral of this video is that, what is the moral of this video? I think the moral of this video is that it is okay to experience whatever you're going through. It is okay if you did some bad things because of that, right? Oh, because I feel bad, I ate, or I did this thing I shouldn't have done. That's okay. But what we do going forward is what matters, and that's what you have to keep reminding yourself. It's also important to remember that what your brain is telling you is not you. It's something that you can choose to listen to or not listen to if you so choose. So if your brain's telling you one thing and you're like, this doesn't serve me, you win. But if you listen to the brain and say the brain is me, and because the brain says this to me, it is true, then you are one with the thought, and you agree with the negative thought, and you are the negative thought, and you experience that negative thought as if it were true, so you decide what is true and what is not true. Again, I'm not saying that, if you're experiencing regret or pain or shame or guilt or fear or doubt, I'm not saying there's not an element of realness to it, but you are cloaking it, if you will, that reality, or empowering it even more. So don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope this video has helped you a little bit. Actually, I really hope it's helped a lot, but thank you for listening. I'll catch you in the next video.